Grace and peace to you. We continue our study of Revelation. Our text will start in Revelation chapter 3 and verse 22. There's one final message for Laodicea, and then we move on to the next section of Revelation, which we will talk about in detail in this video. But first, our text. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. This marks the last appeal by Christ to the churches. First, I want to mention the Laodicea is the last of the 7 churches addressed, the recipients of the letters making up chapters 2 and 3 of Revelation. Those 7 churches were the original to receive the text. It should be noted that the church as a whole does not get mentioned again until Christ returns to earth in chapter 19. I covered this in detail in chapter 3, verse 10 of Revelation, but feel that a reiteration is necessary here because we are going to be talking about 2 major events and a transition. This then is the final appeal to the church before the primary events of Revelation are to take place. Simply stated, the events that will soon transpire will engulf the entire world, and this is the final appeal that is made before the judgment and its preparation will commence. I'm reminded of Isaiah 55 and verse 6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon his name while he is near. The 2 events I am referencing are the rapture and the tribulation. First, the tribulation. It is an event that will affect the entire world and everyone that lives on it. The tribulation is also called the hour of temptation, and it lasts over 7 years. Discussion of this topic takes up the majority of the book of Revelation. It starts in chapter 6 and does not end until chapter 19, when Christ returns to earth. Simply stated, the tribulation is a time of judgment, where the earth is given the full measure of God's judgment on the wicked world. These are successive judgments that will happen through those chapters, and we will cover each judgment as they occur in each chapter. Now, how then can the church escape this trial, as was promised in Revelation 3, verse 10? The rapture. Some context is, of course, needed. In chapter 4, chapter 4 of Revelation, John advises what he sees going on in heaven prior to that tribulation hour. Chapters 4 and 5 are heaven preparing for the tribulation hour that officially starts in chapter 6. Now in Revelation 4, verse 4, John notices thrones and crowns as well as those who possess them. This is important because those individuals have received their rewards prior to the tribulation time frame. In Luke chapter 14, verse 14, Jesus tells us that rewards for Christian behavior are given out during the resurrection of the just. So the resurrection of the just must have already happened then, and this is prior to the tribulation. This means the believers have now stood before the judgment seat of Christ to give an account of their life and have been given rewards based on how they lived that Christian life. This is a reference to 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 10. For this great judgment to happen, it means all believers must be present. It means all believers, both dead and living, will stand before Christ at that time, and it will be just prior to the tribulation. The rapture is not only mentioned in these texts, but others. For example, you can see it in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 16 and 17. Christ will call believers who are dead and resurrect them. That is, the spirit that was in heaven is now joined to a resurrected body. And believers who are alive during this event will be caught up and have their bodies transformed. All will then meet with Christ in the air and be called to heaven for safety. In conclusion, the tribulation hour will be God's judgment on earth. It will be full of great and terrible judgments that God would spare his faithful from experiencing. Those who have died in their faith and those who are living according to that faith in Christ will stand before God to receive their rewards, after which time then the tribulation will start. The Bible uses several words to describe what we call rapture. In Revelation, we see the term to be kept out from or away from. In Thessalonians, the term is to be caught up. In Latin, they used the word rapio. It meant catching up or to be caught up. We have an English derivative today, and we call it the rapture. To be clear, the church is now safe in heaven. All that proceeds after this pertain to the future, and it is a future where the church is safe. Revelation chapter 4 and verse 1, our text. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. This chapter and verse mark a transition. John says he looked up and noticed an opened door in heaven. He then heard the voice which spoke to him in chapter 1. This is Jesus. The voice was like that of a trumpet blaring. The voice said to come up to heaven, and I will show you things that will happen hereafter. Again, we are now in the future. This is prevalent. Chapter 1 covered things of the past. Chapters 2 and 3 were things that were the present. That is, they were happening in John's time. Chapter 4 and forward are the future. Chapter 4 and 5 are the condition of heaven just before the time of the great judgment. A successive list of judgments unleashed on the world, the tribulation. Verse 2 of the text. And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on that throne. John says he was in the Spirit. His perception has changed. He's no longer on earth beholding the visions of God from where he was being imprisoned in Patmos. Instead, he is consumed by the power of God. He now sees and feels nothing but the supernatural. Some have described this as an out-of-body experience. The Apostle Paul had an experience similar to this in 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 4. This is John, and this is his first glimpse of heaven. The first thing he notices is a throne. I imagine for all believers the most eye-catching moment in heaven is beholding God's throne, that we may see the silhouette of the one seated there. As the verses will unfurl for us, the amazing visions of Revelation, and most of all their focus, the all-powerful God, will be made clear to us and brought to our attention. That is the end of the reading for now. Thank you for watching the video. We will continue our study of Revelation. We have transitioned now to future events. I pray that the Lord bless you and keep you. And until next time, God bless.